some of the clusters get overexposed, and so there's a lot of sorting that goes on to try and get to just the right fruit. As I mentioned earlier, it's not a beauty contest.
that gets pretty labor intensive.
It gets very labor intensive. We're talking about growing costs in here of about $4,200 an acre just to get the vines off into the winery. So,
but we cut fruit back to one cluster per shoot. Again, that shoot now is only responsible for one little cluster, and it's putting all of its, motherly nature love. And there are two things that happen in ripening. Everybody knows about sugar, right? And we got a refractometer. I'll show you how that works a little later. So we're waiting for the sugar to go up. We're waiting for the pH to go up. We're waiting for the acidity to go down, and we reach a point and we pick. Well, there's a lot more to it, of course, than sugar, pH, and total acid. There's a whole nother process that is developing the aroma, and in case of red wines, the structure, the phenolics, the color, all of that kind of stuff. And in order to make more, we have to manipulate the vine. We have to make that vine think that it's under siege. And we do that primarily with irrigation. And we do it with sunlight and other tricks. We trick the vine, basically. Because if you think about it, the vine is growing under normal conditions with adequate moisture. Prehistorically, it was in a jungle. And it would put out a tendril and attach to a tree, and it would climb, it would climb, it would climb. What's it looking for? Sunlight, exactly. So once it gets the sunlight, instead of putting out a tendril to climb, it puts out a cluster, its progeny, because it wants to. It's all about survival. And so what we do is we don't irrigate until very late in the season. These vines didn't get any water after rainfall until August, and even then they only got water when it got hot. So what that does is the vine's growing luxuriously. It's just like us, it's sitting there in the sun loving life, and all of a sudden its roots are going, we're out of water, we're out of water. And they find, oh my God, what are we going to do? Well, of course it doesn't have logic, but it's hormonally it adjusts. The root thing that sends a signal, it's called abscisic acid, goes up to the leaves, and it's what's responsible for turning the leaves yellow. And once those leaves start to turn a little bit yellow, and some of them actually drop off and they're gone now, you don't even see them, that signals the shoots to stop growing. And it signals a process called lignification, when the shoot turns from green to hard wood. And that makes the flow of its vascular system concentrate, instead of on the shoot tips, on its progeny. So now it's putting everything into the sink. We call whatever the sink is. Early in the season, the sink is the shoot tip. It's growing, it's growing, it's growing. Now it is the cluster. So everything is being developed is going into the cluster. Now there are these 5-ring carbon structures that make up phenolics, and the structure of a wine and the color of a wine. And those things happen over time. They are not temperature dependent like sugar. Sugar goes up on a hot day. Oh my gosh, it's such a pain. Because the sugar will go up too fast. And the pH is still kind of creeping along, and you get out of balance. And meanwhile, all this other great stuff that we really want to develop into the vine is just button along. So the ideal season, like 7 to 09, is a very cool season. Not too cool, but after August 1st, a very cool season, normal temperatures without huge heat spikes that increase the sugar artificially high at the expense of more time for all these other things that we're looking for to develop in the vine. So I hope that makes sense. It's a rather complex thing.